What if you woke up tomorrow morning and the money sitting in your bank account was worth half of what it is today? No warning. No news alert. No time to react. Just gone. You'd think that's impossible, right? That's exactly what millions of people thought in Venezuela, in Zimbabwe, in Lebanon, right before it happened to them. And right now, in 2025, the signs are pointing directly at the US dollar. Stay with me for the next few minutes because what I'm about to show you could be the most important financial information you will ever hear in your life. My name is Your Name, and welcome to Dollar Decoded, where we tell you the truth about money that nobody else has the courage to say out loud. Let's start with the facts, because facts don't lie and numbers don't care about your feelings. The US dollar has been the world's reserve currency since 1944. That's over 80 years of absolute total dominance. Every country on earth buys oil in dollars. Every major trade deal on the planet happens in dollars. Every central bank in the world holds dollars in its reserves. The dollar wasn't just a currency, it was the very foundation of the entire global financial system. Empires were built on it, wars were fought over it, and for 80 years, nobody dared to challenge it. But something has changed, and it changed quietly, slowly, while most people were busy living their lives and trusting a system they never fully understood. In the last 3 years alone, the US government has printed more money than it printed in the previous 200 years combined. Let that sink in for a moment. 200 years of money, created in just 3 years. When you flood the system with that much cash, the value of every single dollar already in existence goes down. That is not a conspiracy theory. That is not political opinion. That is basic economics. That has been proven true every single time in human history. And the result of all that money printing was devastating for ordinary people. Inflation hit a 40-year high. Grocery bills doubled. Rent became unaffordable for millions of families. And your savings, the money you worked overtime for, the money you sacrificed for, the money you were so careful with, bought less and less every single month without you doing anything wrong. This is not an accident. This is a system. And right now you're on the losing side of it. Now, let me show you some numbers that should stop you cold. The United States national debt right now stands at over $35 trillion. $35 trillion. That number is so incomprehensibly large that most human minds cannot even picture it properly. Here is a way to understand it. If you spent $1 million every single day without stopping, it would take you 95,000 years to spend $35 trillion. And the terrifying part is that America is adding to that debt every single second of every single day. The interest alone on that debt is now over $1 trillion per year. $1 trillion every year, just in interest payments, before the government pays for a single school or a single hospital or a single soldier's salary. And where does that money come from? They print more of it. And every single time they print more, your savings silently lose more of their value. This is the hidden tax that never shows up on your paycheck. The tax that politicians never mention in their speeches. The tax that quietly and systematically steals your hard-earned wealth while you sleep peacefully at night, thinking your money is safe. But here is where things get even more serious, and I need you to really pay attention right now. For decades, America's greatest financial weapon was breathtakingly simple. The entire world needed dollars. You want to buy oil? You need dollars. You want to trade internationally? You need dollars. You want to store your country's wealth safely? You store it in dollars. This created an almost unlimited global demand for the US dollar, and that demand is what kept America financially untouchable for generations. But something massive is happening right now that the mainstream media is barely covering and most people have absolutely no idea about. Countries are starting to walk away from the dollar. Not slowly, not quietly, boldly and deliberately. China and Russia, two of the largest economies on Earth, are now conducting billions of dollars worth of trade directly in their own currencies, completely cutting the dollar out of the equation entirely. Saudi Arabia, America's most critical oil partner for the past 50 years, is now in serious advanced talks to start selling oil in Chinese yuan instead of US dollars. Think about what that means. The petrodollar system, the agreement that forced the entire world to buy dollars just to purchase oil, is cracking at its foundation. Brazil, Russia, India, China, and South Africa, the BRICS nations, are actively constructing a brand new financial system that is specifically designed to reduce and eventually replace dollar dominance in global trade. And over 40 additional countries have already expressed serious interest in joining this new system. 40 countries actively working to escape the dollar. This has never happened before in modern financial history. Not like this, not at this scale. And when the world stops needing dollars, America loses the single greatest superpower it has ever had. When that happens, the value of every dollar, including the ones sitting in your savings account, will fall in ways most people are completely unprepared for. Now I know exactly what some of you are thinking right now. This sounds extreme. America is too big to fail. The dollar has survived everything before, and it will survive this too. I understand that feeling completely. It feels safe to believe that. But let me show you what happened to ordinary people who felt exactly the same way in other countries. Not that long ago. In Venezuela, just 15 years ago, it was one of the wealthiest nations in South America. Oil money was flowing. The economy was growing. Families had savings and plans and dreams for the future. Then the government began printing money to cover its debts. Within a decade, inflation reached 1 million%. 1 million%. Doctors and engineers and teachers, educated, hardworking, responsible people, were pushing wheelbarrows full of cash through the streets just to buy a single loaf of bread. Life savings that took 30 years to build disappeared in months. In Lebanon, just 5 years ago, the country had one of the most sophisticated modern banking systems in the entire Middle East. Then the financial system collapsed almost overnight. Banks froze ordinary people's accounts. Citizens stood outside their own banks, unable to withdraw their own money. The Lebanese pound lost over 90% of its value in less than 2 years. People lost everything. Not because they were reckless, not because they made bad decisions, but because they trusted a system without ever understanding how dangerously fragile it really was underneath the surface. So let's talk about you, because that is ultimately why you clicked on this video. Right now, if you have money sitting in a regular savings account, you're already losing money every single day, even though your balance looks the same. Your bank is probably giving you somewhere around 0.5% interest on your savings, but inflation is running between 3 and 5% per year. That means every single year, your savings are losing 3 to 4% of their real purchasing power. In 10 years at that rate, your money will buy 35% less than it buys today. You did not spend it, you did not gamble it. You did not make a single financial mistake. You simply trusted the system, and the system quietly robbed you in broad daylight. This is the collapse that is already happening to millions of people right now. Not in some dramatic overnight crash that makes the front page, but slowly, silently, invisibly every single day. And the most heartbreaking truth is that most people will not realize what happened to their wealth until it is completely too late to do anything about it. But this is where I want to give you something real, because this channel exists not just to show you problems, but to hand you solutions. There are concrete things you can do right now today to protect what you have built and even position yourself to grow while others are losing everything. Stop holding all your wealth in cash, because cash in an inflationary world is a melting ice cube. It looks solid, but it is shrinking every moment. Learn about assets that hold real value. Real estate, commodities, and carefully selected investments that move with or ahead of inflation rather than falling behind it. Pay serious attention to gold and silver, because for thousands of years across every civilization and every financial crisis in human history, gold has been the ultimate store of value. Central banks around the world are buying gold right now at record levels that we have never seen before, and there is a very powerful reason for that. Watch the dollar index, the DXY, because it tells you in real time exactly how strong or weak the dollar is, and it will show you things that the evening news will never show you. Eliminate high interest debt as aggressively as you possibly can, because debt in a weakening dollar environment becomes a trap that gets harder and harder to escape from. And above everything else, keep educating yourself, because the people who survive financial storms are never the ones who are simply the richest. They're always the ones who were the most informed and the most prepared when the moment came. The dollar has survived wars, market crashes, the Great Depression, 2 world wars, the 2008 financial crisis, and a global pandemic. It is still standing. It is still powerful. It is still the world's reserve currency today. But for the first time in over 80 years, its absolute dominance is being seriously challenged from multiple directions at the same time. And that is something that has simply never happened before. The people who will suffer the most in the years ahead are the ones who never saw this coming, the ones who trusted without questioning, the ones who assumed everything would always be fine because it had always been fine before. You are watching this video right now, which means you are already asking better questions than 99% of people around you. Do not waste that. Subscribe to Decoded. Hit the bell so you never miss what we uncover next. Share this with someone you love before it is too late for them. Because the greatest thing you can do for the people in your life is give them the truth about their money while there is still time to act on it. Stay informed, stay protected, stay decoded.